The recipe of the week is Mexican beef and rice skillet. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Christy, and the recipe of the week is Mexican beef and rice skillet. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to turn some corn into fire roasted corn. It's interesting. We used to be able to find fire roasted corn in a can. I think it was made by Del Monte. And after a while, it got to where I couldn't find it on the shelves anywhere. So I started looking online, and I actually found a recipe that turns your corn into fire roasted corn. So I'm going to do that first. If you want to see if you can find it on your grocery supermarket shelves and you are successful, then by all means I will give you a timestamp in the corner to let you know what time I actually start making the Mexican beef and rice skillet recipe, so that you don't have to watch this part. But if you can't find it, here we go. First, we're gonna have our it's interesting, it doesn't really say in this recipe. It says 1 package of Bird's Eye sweet kernel corn, and I'm assuming that that means from the freezer section, but I didn't do that. I had canned corn. So I may try that sometime, where I turn it from a frozen state into fire roasted corn. But in this case, I used canned corn. It doesn't seem to matter. But we put the oil in it. It calls for vegetable oil, but I don't use vegetable oil in anything. I used avocado oil. It's 1 tablespoon. So I put that and the corn in to the skillet on medium-high heat. And then I cook that for 10 to 12 minutes. And you're basically going until your corn starts to brown, stirring occasionally. As soon as that has started to brown, you add a 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Now, to me, you might not need that much salt. What I would say is, if you're using the frozen, then make sure you add the teaspoon of salt. If you're using canned corn typically already has salt in it, unless you get a no salt added version, and you might not need that salt. So it's according to what you use there, okay? Okay, so now that we're finished with the corn, we're ready to start cooking the rest of the dish. So if you use onions in your dishes, then you want to start off with some onion. However, we do not, so you will not see us using the onion in this recipe, but you would basically cook the onion in the skillet over medium heat for 1 to 2 minutes. Then you would add ground beef. After you have browned the ground beef, you return it to the skillet. At this point, you add taco seasoning, diced tomatoes, corn kernels, rice, and beef broth, and stir until well combined. Then you're going to bring it to a small boil, reduce the heat to a simmer, and cover it. And you're just going to let it cook for 20 minutes, but you stir it at the 10-minute mark. So in other words, you cook it 10 minutes, stir it, and cook it another 10 minutes. When that's done, if the rice looks like it is cooked, then you're going to top it with some shredded cheese, cover it again, and cook on low for an additional 3 minutes until the cheese has melted. And then you have a completed dish. You can just let people scoop out some into a bowl, put their own taco toppings on top of it. I myself always put it on a bed of lettuce, so it's almost like a little taco bowl for me. And that's the whole recipe. Well, that is all for this week's Recipe of the Week video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and be sure to watch our grocery hauls so that you can vote on the next Recipe of the Week video. And until next time, this is Christy with The Long Run with Joel and Christy saying, it's a long run. Give yourself a little grace. Bye.